Tyler Aki is our producer. He has some questions to ask us, and we try and answer them the best we can. What do you got, Tyler?
All right, lots has been made of the punter pick of Tory Taylor in the 4th round.
By the way, how'd you like it?
I'm kind of with you. Like, it wasn't the way that I would go. But punter is a need on this team. Like, if you look at a lot of the metrics and stuff, Trenton Gill is one of, if not the worst punter in all of football. But I think there's a lot of different ways to find a punter aside from a 4th-round draft pick. Anyway, how good, and you can quantify it in whatever way you want, whether it's years played, Pro Bowls, All-Pro, all that. How good does Tory Taylor have to be to justify the pick?
He has to be great. He has to be great. It's like when you draft Caleb Williams #1 overall as the quarterback. You're setting the bar high for a punter when you. Not many punters get drafted this high. I mean, we talked about Sauerbrunn.
You wouldn't equate it to a quarterback being drafted 1st overall. It's high, but there have been guys drafted higher than this.
But there have been many quarterbacks drafted #1 overall.
That's true.
So when you have, I bet you there have been more quarterbacks drafted #1 overall.
Yes.
Than punters drafted in the top 4 rounds.
Yes.
So I think it's more unprecedented for what the Bears did with this, and he has to be a multi-time Pro Bowler, and he has to flip the field. Like he has to be great.
He's got to be. I mean, you would hope he's your answer for the next decade plus. So 10 years, above average. And having to be, a Pro Bowler several times. That's what I would say.
We have to talk about him like Iowa fans talk about him. We have to, he can't, as good as Brad Maynard was or some of the other punters that we may have liked. He's got to be better than that. He has to be great.
Yeah, like the standard changes for a punter drafted in the 4th round.
Of
like
course.
It's the same thing, like you said, Sylvie. Like a quarterback going 1st overall, like the standard is different for you than anyone else that may be taken in your class.
How about this organization has Chris Gardocki was a 3rd-round pick, I think number 75, and Todd Sauerbrunn was a 2nd-round pick. Like we love ourselves some punters.
Yeah,
in the top half of the draft. Meller, you got over there just giggling, loving punters. You gotta love that.
I absolutely do. I'm thinking like they could play just as long, Caleb Williams and Tory Taylor here. Hopefully you got 15 years out of both is what I'm hoping for.
Who was obviously didn't the Bills draft their punter and then
Matt Araiza,
right, and then he was accused of that, but then he was found innocent, right? Yeah. And then I think another team just the Chiefs just signed him.
Yes,
he was a highly drafted punter, wasn't he? Like 5th round.
He absolutely was.
Where was he?
I want to say 5th round sounds right. 5th or 6th, yeah,
something like that.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, there's a lot of buzz around all of the NFC North right now. Whether it's the Lions, they're coming off a trip to the NFC Championship. The Packers feel like they have found their quarterback of the future and have a very young roster. The Bears, we've talked about ad nauseum. And then the Vikings went out and found their new quarterback of the future as well with J.J. McCarthy. I ask you guys, if you could hitch your wagon to any of the 4 teams over the next 5 years, who is the envy of the NFC North?
The envy of the NFC North. I mean, if we're drinking Kool-Aid, it's the Bears.
I said to you guys, I think you asked this upstairs. I'm choosing the Bears. I'm not picking them to win the division this year, but if you're looking long-term, let's face it, you just drafted Caleb Williams 1st overall in a quarterback-rich draft. He better 3 or 4 years from now be the best quarterback in this division, which includes Jared Goff. I don't know how much longer he'll be around.
That's the thing.
Jordan Love.
Right.
J.J. McCarthy.
Jordan
you drafted
Love,
him 1 overall.
That was a flash in the pan. He won't repeat what he did last year. Jared Goff isn't a franchise quarterback, but they have a really good roster. So, yeah, maybe the Bears. I mean, it's so easy to are we going from 0 to 60 too quickly?
Well,
are we going from worst to first
again,
to be the envy of the North?
Who are you hitching your wagon to for the next 5 years?
I mean, like,
Next 5 years.
Caleb-
That includes this year.
of course,
Yes.
Caleb Williams was the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah, I know.
And is the best quarterback prospect by many people's evaluations since Andrew Luck. Like, and by the way, Ryan Poles has built a pretty nice infrastructure on offense. And by the way, the defense made tremendous strides in the second half
If you're
of the
betting
season.
$1,000 for the most wins in this division over the next 5 years,
$1,000.
$1,000, big money for you. That's a big wager for you.
Yeah, because I normally bet $5
Right.
on everything.
Who's going to win the most games over the next 5 years?
I would. What,
The Bears?
Well, where's my? Or are the odds even on all four?
Yes,
So
that's
you
what
get
he
returns. Okay.
He's not giving you odds here. He's saying who is the envy.
I'll take the Bears for the next 5 years. If not, we made a mistake at one.
I don't think.
You just said
I want to answer
you
the
just
Bears.
said the Green Bay Packers quarterback is his flash in the
Yes,
pan,
yes,
and the guy
right, I
in Detroit
should-
sucks.
No, I did say he sucks. I
thought
said
that's
he's.
what you
I
said.
said he's not.
Not a franchise quarterback.
He's not the
Is our guy a franchise quarterback?
I hope he is. Yes.
If not, we made a
Yes.
mistake.
There
Exactly.
were 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 12. You had the first pick. He better be a franchise
Well, and
quarterback.
wasn't he the number 1 pick too?
He was, yeah.
Yeah. He was the last guy to be drafted by a 7-win team, number 1 overall.
Yes.
Matter of fact.
Who you betting on, Sylvie?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I don't want to be that guy, because I've been that guy many, many times. I remember the poll question we did. Who is the best quarterback in the division?
And you said Justin?
And it was Jay
It was
Cutler.
Favre, Stafford,
No, it was Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Jay
and Favre,
Cutler.
and Favre as the Vikings quarterback.
And Favre is the Vikings quarterback. And I was all in. It's Jay. We've got him. Aaron Rodgers, not good. He's not going to live up to what people think. Favre's over the hill. Stafford doesn't win the big game. It's Jay. 2009 this was.
The way they're set up, though,
I know.
this season is the only season where I might be reluctant to pick them to have the most wins in the NFC North. I believe in Caleb Williams, and so if you believe in Caleb
10
Williams,
wins.
like there's a very good chance that you're thinking the Bears are going to run this division for the next. Because
By the way,
every
they've got-
year
they've-
after this, they look set up to be great.
I think they've got 10 draft picks next year too, don't
All
they?
right, I'm in. I'm in.
I'm
I'm in.
with Miller. Like I'm not picking them to win the division in 2024.
There's a
Oh, I
5-year
am.
play.
I am.
Well, that's fine. I'm not, but I still believe that over the course of the next 5 years,
Good poll question for tomorrow, Tyler. Over the next 5
I'd be
years,
happy
who
to-
wins the most amount of football games?
Well,
We're getting chesty awfully quickly. After winning how many games did you just say in 2 years?
10 games in the last 2 years. But
We
again,
haven't beaten the Packers in 10 games.
no. But that's why you got the first overall pick
And
Well,
the ninth.
and because Carolina
and
sucks.
the ninth. Well,
Yeah.
Correct. But I'm saying I'm not sitting here telling you this based on something prior to this year. Like they have used their resources on players that are difference-making players, or so we hope. I don't think it's going to
Great
be a
question.
runaway. It'll be competitive.
Who's your number 2 then?
Probably Green Bay. I love what Detroit has done, but like everything ebbs and flows. And at some point, I do believe the Bears have the capacity to play with them or above these guys. I don't think it'll be like, I'm not telling you the Bears are going 13-4 and everybody else is going 7-10. I think it'll be very competitive. I think it's going to be one of the more competitive divisions in football for the next several years.
A lot of people think it could be the best.
If I didn't believe in Caleb Williams and the group that Ryan Poles had put together, I'd be honest with you, but I do believe in this group, and I think that they are good enough to hopefully be the best of a very competitive division soon.
If Jim Harbaugh was the head coach with this roster,
I would be even more compelled.
I think we'd all be in. I think that's the last thing we want to know.
Yeah, like you think about it, in terms of the 4 teams in the division, the best quarterback to head coach health and like chemistry is Green Bay right now.
Yes, no doubt.
Matt LaFleur
and that's
is a very good
fantastic
coach.
coach.
And that's a
Dan
sustainable-
Campbell's a very good coach.
He is.
But what happens if Ben Johnson leaves to take a head coaching job? then what happens with how good is your quarterback at that point?
Look, again, I don't. This is not an easy question to answer for me, and I think it'll be a very competitive division over the next 5 years. But Caleb Williams has a really good chance of being a significant difference maker in this league. The talent is there. I think his approach is
the
there,
weaponry
and
around
the
him.
group around him. And again, look, they're not in any type of cap hell. In fact, you've got a rookie quarterback. You've got a full complement of picks in 2025. I mean, the arrow is up. I don't think it'll happen overnight, but you said 5 years, right?
5 years.
5 years. Yeah. We better be. It's our time.
We've waited long enough.
Yes.
I would like to see 5 good years, not ebb and flow. I want over the next 5 years
It's a young team, too.
at least 55 wins.
I mean,
Is that asking too much?
11 a year?
11. You play 17 games these days.
Maybe you play 18 by the time you get to year 5.
Yeah, for sure. And I would hope a couple of those years you win more than that. You know, a couple of years you have a couple of 13-win seasons. Like no more 7-win seasons. Those days are done.
And if he's great, Caleb Williams, this is 2 where you make the noise because he's on his rookie contract.
That's my
so,
point.
you know, this will be the most flexibility that Ryan
Yes.
Poles has.
You got a
It's
ton
all
of
in.
youth. You
Him
got a
and
ton of
Rome.
youth over the next 5 years. Your entire, I mean, like, you're going to have some decisions to be made. There's for sure.
There's a good question, Tyler. Good Aki's A-list.